YouTube is Coffee. Tapping back in, man. Big day today. My Bills playoff game that got moved. Coming up shortly, man. Got moved to Monday. But you see, we're over here on Milk's page, man. And I saw Swamp Stories dissing Milk, trolling Milk a little bit. I saw recently, too, there was another video. Shout out if y'all watch the channel. Famous Criminals. Big fan of that guy's stuff. But he did a video, I guess we could say, checking Swamp Stories, as it was about, what was that boxer, Canelo Alvarez, where Swamp Stories was saying like, oh, he's a colonizer, and Famous Criminals did this whole video breaking it all down and everything. I don't know. Let me know what y'all thought about that video. But my point in bringing that up is it seems that like Swamp Stories likes to troll people on the gram, and I was just a little shocked to see him trolling Milk. But peep it. This is what Milk put up. He said, I remember, this is a message, I believe a fan sent him. And it says, I remember walking around the set when I was little, seeing your ass on 77th outside sagging. That ish made me want to bang the set. Seeing you, Sam, and Max on 74th and Flower outside playing basketball in the street. I remember it like it was yesterday. So Milk sees this, shares it with the people, and he says, back in the day, I was a bad influence for the youth in the community without even realizing it. But fast forward to today, and God had different plans for me, because the only influence an individual could get from me is the type called positivity, bro. And Milk, shout out to him, man. You know, anyone who's ever flucked with Coffee, you know I'm a fan of Milk. You know what I'm saying? Been following his come up, his get down in the blogosphere from day one. You know, like I'm talking about 4,000 subscribers or whatever. I didn't even know Milk had a channel at first, actually. I remember seeing him on Big Herc. And then one of my bros, who's a pretty big content creator, one day did this like comedy video or whatever, and he mentioned Milk or something like that. You know what I mean? He was like, yo, everyone coming at Milk. You got to go through me to get the Milk or something like that. And then when I was like asking him about the video, I didn't quite get the joke at first. You know what I mean? Because Milk was getting all kinds of trolling and heat and all that. I was like, who you talking about? And then he was like, when he showed me, I was like, oh shit, I remember that dude's Big Herc interview. And then, you know, from that point on, I was following his channel, you know, from beefing with all them Florida prison YouTubers to becoming the reactor, to No Jumper, to everything else. You know, Milk's had a pretty wild career in the blogosphere, and, you know, he's doing well for himself. And that's always good to see someone change their situation in a positive way, like Milk's saying. And it's like, Milk, funny as fuck, man. He cracks us all up. But at the same time, right, you could really get a positive influence from Milk, especially, I was pointing out in a video I did recently, right, about this ish going on with Gotti's brother, Jook, getting killed, right? And, you know, there's all the fans trolling Gotti. Whack 100 was telling him, yo, don't let the trolls get to you. Don't let the emotion of all that be too much for you. You know, do you get through this grieving process and stuff, losing a loved one, a brother, especially, you know, Gotti and Jook seem to be very close. It's heartbreaking. It's tough, man. It's some people can never recover from it. They're changed forever. And there's a lot of fans trolling Gotti with the Dolph emojis and all that. And that's one thing. It's still kind of flucked up, but it is what it is. That's one thing. But it's getting crazy because you got these other fans who are posting and saying things online. Because as we know, there's some real flucked up pictures out there of Jook deceased and all kinds of ish, you know what I'm saying? And we heard Gotti's mom being in the mix and all that. And there's fans that are posting and saying things like some old school DJ Academics, Warren Chirac type ish, where, you know, individuals would diss each other on the net, but then really go bang on each other in real life and body each other, and then say things like check the scoreboard and we're smoking your dead homies. And you know what I'm saying? Like real disrespectful things like that, disrespecting the dead. And there's fans are doing it. That's like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like trolling with the Dolph emojis and all that is one thing. It's kind of fucked up, right? But there's individuals like posting and saying these things, disrespecting the dead and family members and stuff, like they're in the streets, like they're a part of these two warring factions in the streets. And it's just so crazy. Like individuals get lost in this blogosphere-ish where they think they're really a part of something. They really think that they're gang, you know what I mean? And then we've seen in the past where there might be someone who comes from a privileged background, you know, where they got dispensable income that's just given to them from a trust fund or by their family or whatever, who, you know, has all this money. And then it goes even a step further at times when they might put a little bit of money in someone's pocket. So that person, like say someone who is known, famous or infamous in the blogosphere or whatever, and, you know, is part of the streets or affiliated in some way with a gang or something like that. And then individuals, they might, these privileged cats that I'm talking about might put a little bit of money in the individual's pocket, because, you know, nowadays you can send money instantaneously, you can do everything instantaneously, and then that person might humor the fan a little bit, like, yeah, you're part of the clique or whatever, and then they think they're really down with all this ish, you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. There's always been influences in life where you can get influenced to do things that are negative or, you know, not the route you really want to take in life. And the way Milk does his content, where he's really breaking down some things for what it is, and, you know, of course, like we said, Milk's funny as fuck. He hits his punchlines and all that, but he really shows how corny a lot of situations are. And then individuals coming from Squaresville might see that and be like, yo, Milk's right, this ish is lame, I don't want it. Like, I ain't, well, who, and I, like, I'm not gonna go pursue this lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. So I would really say that Milk does have an aspect of influencing people to do the right thing. And I hear him all the time telling people, you know, to plan ahead and think about their life and stuff like that, you know, like, so I concur with that, what Milk's saying. But then you see Swamp Stories in the comments here, and he says, outside sagging, wow, oh my God, so tough. And then this guy says, blamped. And then Milk says, Swamp Stories, you're a whole square, bro. Sagging means being outside, but you learn about the streets from Google. And then someone else says, Swamp Stories, hey, we want to know what you look like. And then someone else says, Milk, laugh my ass. He taught you was literally sagging pants. Laugh my ass off. He better go to the Urban Dictionary like how he been doing. Milk laughs. Someone else laughs at Swamp Stories. Then someone says, Swamp Stories, not gonna lie, sit this one out. Cemetery. I think he put cemetery, but I think he meant to say cemetery. Now, what's the deal with that, y'all? Did Swamp Stories, I'm curious to know, do individuals, you know, because I'm up on the whole thing where it came out, they said the cemetery dude, you know, juggalo, like gothic horrorcore rapper or horror story rapper, whatever you want to call him, put out from his other IG is the way the story goes, the internet lore, right? He didn't know he was on the other account, he was on the Swamp Stories account, posted something from the cemetery page, and then that's where that whole situation came from, where they were saying they figured out who he was. But the only thing about that always kind of had me wondering is, if that is what happened, how come no one had the screenshot of that? Right? Am I bugging, or we saw a screenshot of that? But I don't know, you know, Swamp Stories just shook the situation off and is continuing on doing what he does. But I'm just curious to know, I want to ask, do y'all believe that is indeed who Swamp Stories is, or do you think it's not? This guy says, your stories are trash. The majority of your ish is misinformation, white boy. You love making a living off our lifestyle. Wait till I find out who you are, cornbread. Stop hiding behind that camera. This guy says, ask Jeeves. Swamp Stories, y'all crazy. Googling the streets is crazy. Swamp Stories, you're a lame and 85% of the stuff in your videos is wrong. You just make ish up and get ish from the internet and present it as facts. Then someone else says, Swamp Stories, you wouldn't say that in the flesh, keyboard warrior. And this dude says Swamp Stories is Gilligan of the day. That's the Gilligan of the day comment. And then this dude says, Milk, yeah. Dude gotta at least be from Southern Cal to know what sagging means. Basically the same ish as trooping or mobbing. Mobbing through the streets, mobbing through the hood. It's so wild, man. When you go, that's another thing now with the blogosphere. Like back in the day, if you would run into individuals just from certain ish they would wear or how they would talk, you could tell where they were from, right? It's still like that to a degree, but with everything with the blogosphere now, people seeing trends from different places and then implementing them and rocking them where they're at, as well as using slang like in different places, and then it might catch on, has changed the whole dynamic of that, you know, like the blogosphere really done changed the world, man. And then this dude says, laugh my ass off. So I don't know, man. Swamp Stories, this like I said, there's a couple other situations aside from that Canelo situation where I just seen Swamp Stories, like, I don't know, I didn't know that was like his get down in Instagram, is that he's kind of like dissing people and trolling people. But you see Milk and you know, his followers, people that flock with him, were just roasting Swamp Stories, and Milk was telling him, you don't even know what you're talking about, man. Like, you thinking I'm saying one thing and saying another. Someone told Swamp Stories, sit this one out. So there you have it, man. Milk. This is Swamp Stories. Hops in Milk's comments, tries to clown him. Milk and his followers roast Swamp Stories. What do y'all think about the cemetery thing? What do you guys think about Milk? You know, being on some more positive-ish, happy with his life, good for him. Let's talk about it all. Subscribe. Stay tuned for more. It's Coffee, talking music, news, sports, and more. And I'm gone, y'all. Peace.